Good day traders, welcome back to another technical market overview. This week we will be doing things differently once again by including a new market, the US30, along with our NASDAQ 100 and DAX 50 as part of our indices that we will be covering. I'm not going to waste any more of your time. I'm going to let the disclaimer roll and I'll see you back in the charts. Starting with the US dollar to South African rand, we can see that price has now bounced from support, and currently we are still trading below the daily 100 SMA. I believe that if we can make a new high and get above our weekly R1 pivot at about 15.15, it will be possible to then retest upper resistance at about 15.40. Break above that would then set up a new bullish trend. Regarding support, we still have support from that purple diagonal, which is a long-term trend line, and that is sitting at about 14.71 with support further down also at 14.53. That is near the weekly S3 pivot as well as major horizontal support. Looking at the EURUSD, the EURUSD has now reached that head and shoulders target at 1.176. From here, it's possible that we could see a slight pullback towards that 200 daily SMA at about 1.187, which is also the swing level, meaning a break above that could see price correct towards 1.202. That is where it will meet up with the 50 and 100 daily SMAs. A break lower below that low of last week at 1.176 will then set up a new short target, probably in the vicinity of either the monthly S3 at 1.164 or somewhere along 1.160. Looking at the GBPUSD, we can see the GBPUSD currently also bouncing from support, although not yet as low as the daily 100 SMA, meaning there is still some downside. However, we have some resistance overhead from that diagonal at 1.396. A test of that level will likely either see price continue lower towards that daily 100 SMA, or perhaps break up higher, and that will invalidate the head and shoulders pattern that's still in play, setting up overhead target at 1.439. That is the failed head and shoulders target. A break below the daily 100 SMA will likely see us reach the full head and shoulders target at 1.346. Looking now at Australian dollar USD, we can see that the price is also now bouncing from that daily 100 SMA in the support zone. The trend is overall still down, meaning that it would be wise to just consider that the overall trend is down. However, a correction towards this level at about 0.776 is not impossible. That's where price will find resistance from the daily 50 SMA. A rejection from that level can then see price being pushed lower. A break below the swing level at 0.755, which is support, could then see price correct deeper towards that daily 200 SMA near the weekly S3 at 0.735. Just looking at some upper resistance levels. So if price were to break above that daily 50 SMA, it could set up a bullish target in the vicinity of 0.794, which is the monthly R1 and weekly R3 pivots. Moving on now to the NASDAQ 100. We can see that from the NASDAQ 100, we are now bouncing from that daily 100 SMA. All indications still point to the trend being bullish, with the yearly, quarterly, monthly candles all bullish and in the green. It's worth noting that we do have this potential head and shoulders pattern still in play, but as long as we stay above support at about 12,600, the trend will remain bullish. But if we do break lower from that level, that will set up a short target near the daily 200 SMA and monthly S2 near 11,920. Considering the area of resistance near the daily 50 SMA and the weekly R1 pivot that's sitting at 13,232, that level would be considered a swing level. With a break above that, then invalidating that head and shoulders and setting up new bullish targets in the vicinity of the monthly R2 at about 14,400. Looking at the US30, that's our new addition for this week. We can see that trend is trending very bullish, and we are seeing a very strong bullish trend emerge. My projected target for this trend is the overhead diagonal resistance near the weekly R2, and that is sitting at about 33,780, with a break above that, probably going to target that overhead diagonal at 34,160. The swing level for those targets would be that monthly R2 at 33,320. A rejection from that could see another retest of this breakout level near 32,480. Break below that, setting up a retest of support, probably near our daily 100 SMA, and that could be in the vicinity of 31,460. Moving on now to the DAX. The DAX also still very much bullish, yearly, quarterly and monthly candles all green, and the price currently bouncing from support. There's a gap also currently that we can see, so just be mindful of a retest of that gap level, and that's sitting at about 14,600. So it might be that price come back to close that gap. Then if price can then make new highs, breaking through 14,800, we can then set up new bullish targets in this resistance zone near 15,000. A break, of course, below the swing level at 14,500 will set up a retest of support at 14,160, and that is where we'll find some additional support from the daily 50 SMA, which is held in the past. Looking now at gold. Gold also still trending mostly down. Currently, we can see that price is finding some difficulty breaking into higher levels. The support level remains this major diagonal support level, which is currently sitting in the vicinity of 1,690. Also where we have our new weekly S3 pivot. So if price were to move down this week, we could perhaps expect it to find some support in this level. Swing level sitting at our 50 daily SMA near 1,760. Break above that could then see another retest of this overhead diagonal near 1,790, with a break above that potentially see the beginning of that new bullish trend emerging. Concluding this week's technical market overview, we will have a look at Bitcoin, and we can see that Bitcoin also still trending bullish on our yearly, quarterly and monthly candles, all being green. The daily 50 SMA has so far held up very nicely, as it has done also in the past. The swing level sitting at the weekly R1 pivot near 59,700. A break above that, setting up new bullish targets in the vicinity of 63,950 to about 67,840, where we have our weekly R3. There's also that overhead diagonal trend line, which could act as a guideline for a potential stretch target. Just looking at some support, we do have our yearly R2 pivot sitting at about 46,285, and that would then act as support, and that support zone then extending down towards our daily 100 SMA at about 43,280. We will also find some additional support from the weekly S3. And that concludes our technical market overview. Okay, traders, that concludes our technical market overview for this week. We hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please remember to like and subscribe. This is John Jacobs for RMD Trader. Trade smart and trade successful.